I'll go behind you.
Alright, good luck, mate.
Yeah, you too, man.
Hang on, not yet. You have to have your foot on the brake.
Yo, what's happening, guys? And welcome back to another video. And welcome to the British 24 hours of karting. Probably the hardest endurance karting race in the UK. Maybe one of the hardest endurance karting races out there. The main thing about this one is the fact that we have nearly 100 karts on track. I'm not sure, at one point maybe they've had 100 karts on track, but for this one we had 89 karts on track. And out of those 89 karts, about 30 of them would be the owner kart class, which was the pro karts, twin engine pro karts, and then the other 60, I think there was a 61 hire karts, and we were in the hire kart class. And out of both those classes, they're separated into their subclasses. So the owner karts, you have the, I'm not sure, I think it's elite, pro and clubman, and then in the higher karts you have elite, pro, clubman, rookie, and then for your 40 plus teams you had veteran. And for this one we were competing the clubman class in the higher karts. However, in itself we were competing in the higher karts in general overall. And now at this point you join me, I think, for the second stint overall of the race. So yeah, this was the second stint of the race. Alfie had just gone out there, started the race, started from P10. Basically we had a lot of issues in this race from Friday. So Friday would be your official practice day, but in official practice you can bring your kart into the mechanics bay to get it fixed or swap it if there's any problems with it. And we had many problems on Friday, so Anth took the kart out on Friday and we were really struggling in it. I think he was lapping, well, they weren't showing the times on Friday, but if you go on there now you can check them. So at the start we were lapping about a second and a half off, despite knowing that we have the pace to be up there. So we spent most of our times in the mechanic bay, and to be fair, like half the teams spent their time in the mechanics bay. There were very few teams who were happy with their karts to start off with. Obviously these problems could be different. You could have a brakes problem, you could have maybe a steering wheel spent. Most people will just be annoyed about the power of the kart, but nothing you can really do about that. But the mechanics are very helpful. They will get it sorted if you tell them what's wrong. So we basically got no practice on Friday. I think Anth was the only couple. Anth went in, Alfie went in, and Danny went in. And then we have practice on Saturday morning just before quali. We were going to get in the kart for that practice. However, there were still issues with the kart when Harry got in it. So we got the full brake system redone. We got the full brake system taken out. We got that changed. And that basically took over the whole of practice and the whole of qualifying. I think Harry only got one lap in qualifying, which was basically an out lap. But that lap was good enough to put us P10, which is where we started from, P10. Alfie took the started us from P10. Had an insane run. I think after his run and off the start he got up to 5th. And from there he slowly made his way up, and he took the lead overall. That was just an insane start from Alfie, and then I think he slowly pulled away from the other drivers as well. So the first stint couldn't have gone any better. And now we jumped into my stint. Unfortunately, starting off with my stint, it was a full course yellow, which we pitted under. However, the pit lane was full, so we lost a lot of time. Obviously for this year they had a minimum pit stop time in place. So from going into the pit lane to coming out, there was a 1 minute 55 second timer. So you have some time to play about with it. However, with the full course yellow and everyone in the pits, we lost a bit of time there. But it wasn't too bad. I think we lost about 40 seconds or so. So when I came out of the pits, I was about 30 seconds behind KBR. KBR were leading at this point, and then we had Blimey Racing 313 in second. And on this stint, I think KBR were going a bit slow. I think me and Blimey Racing, we were both catching up to KBR in this one. So yeah, our goal was just to get through the traffic wherever we can. As you can see in the background, it's basically a highlight reel, me getting through all the traffic. Our goal was just to get through all the traffic, not waste any time, and just try and catch up to KBR and Blimey Racing. Now, as you can see, it's basically a cart every corner we overtaking. It's just the fact of how busy this was. Nearly 100 carts on track. You've always got traffic to deal with. It's probably the most unique karting endurance races. Like, compared to the other ones I do, you'll have a few laps where you're just by yourselves putting in laps. But in this one, you're always either overtaking slow traffic or you're letting pro karts through. And you've got to let pro karts through in a way that you don't slow yourself up. You don't got to move over to let him through, but you just got to let him through in a way that you don't hamper yourself and you still carry your speed. Now, as you can see, the video is pretty long. Obviously, the reason for this is that the first part of the video is basically just a highlights reel of my first stint, and then the second part of the video would be going into the second stint, and then we had an issue in the second stint. The third part of the video is basically my third stint, but that's basically raw footage of my third stint where I was quickest on track for most of it. That's basically, if you just want to, you know, watch that, see what's going on, maybe see yourself out there on track. Yeah, if you want to also learn the track as well, I've just basically left all that in there. But yeah, this was my third 24-hour, British 24-hour, my fifth 24-hour I've ever done, because I've done 2 Le Mans 24 hours. Obviously, I said I was going to get a video out for the Le Mans 24-hour last month, but unfortunately I didn't get any footage of that. So we are here for this one. But basically, in that one, our kart did not have the pace to compete. Like, genuinely did not have the pace to compete. In the one stint that the kart got fixed, which was the mechanic stop stint, I was the quickest on track. But besides that, our kart just did not have the pace to compete. However, despite that, we were leading in class in the pro class, and we were also third overall. Unfortunately, going into the last couple stints of that race, we had about 3 mechanical failures, and with Le Mans having a minimum pit stop time of 2:45 plus the mechanical failures, at the end of the race there was nothing we could do, and we dropped from the leading class to to 4th, and that was quite gutting. Obviously, we came back here for redemption. The third time at the British 24. First time I'd done it was in 2024, where we finished P46 overall in hires, which yeah, it doesn't sound very good. It wasn't too good. We had a lot of problems in that one. It was our first endurance race. Also first endurance race of the team as well. We had a lot of problems. We were on course for a rookie podium, but a lot of stuff went wrong, and that one didn't work out. Last year we finished P11 overall, but we won in our class, which is the rookie class. Last year we had a lot of problems as well. Last year we had a mechanical failure, but the mechanical failure, the mechanics themselves didn't even know what was wrong with the car. One of our engines basically wasn't working, and after about 15 laps lost in the pits, the mechanics basically figured out there was just a stone in the engine. It took them about 15 minutes to realise that. We lost about 15 laps. That one was a bit unfortunate. We came back to finish 11th overall, we were 11 laps down off the lead. Wasn't too bad considering we had other problems as well. We ran out of fuel when we shouldn't have. We ran out of fuel about 15 minutes before our fuel window, which was a bit weird. But basically what happened is they didn't fill up the tank, and when you don't bring it up, you've lost basically about 5-10 minutes there. So this year we were just making sure to be on point with everything, on point with the pit stops, on point with on-track stuff, off-track stuff. Unfortunately, Stephen, who was racing with us, he struggled with his back, I think. It was hurting quite bad. He went to see the blind man, who I've never heard of before. For some reason, everyone knows this blind man, even my dad knows this blind man. He went to see him to get it fixed. Unfortunately, Steve made the call himself, which was very good of him to make that call. Nobody will be able to make that call, to be honest. He made the call and said he wouldn't be able to do it. He didn't want to go out there and basically say 5 laps later that he can't do it and he wants to come in. He knew we were in a good shot for it, and he made the call. And he decided to be on comms and managing off track for us. And yeah, he done. I think he stayed awake the full 24 hours without any sleep. I think even when he went home, he couldn't go to sleep. So fair play to him. And now for our driver lineup with this one, we changed it up a bit compared to last year. We had me, we had Anthony Leather, who's a local heavyweight champion in these karts. We had Stephen Hall, as I mentioned. He couldn't really compete because of his back, but he was managing everything off track. We had the twins, Alfie and Danny Hale. You probably recognise them from this channel, who are also my Connecticut Racing Team teammates. And then we had the super sub himself, the new man, Mr. Rental Karting, Harry Nottage, who basically changed everything for us. He done a massive favour in the practice by bringing the kart in. I don't think any of us would have realised what was wrong, but he was clicked on with that. Went out in the kart straight away, could tell what was wrong, explained it to the mechanics, and that was the whole reason our car got sorted. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have got the kart sorted. And going into this, we already knew who we would be competing with for the overall win if we were going to do it. Obviously, we had KBR, but KBR, Brad Philpott was basically their quickest driver, so he was kind of clean KBR. We had ABC Racing, as you can see, who are in front of me on track. That's ABC Racing. They're competing in the elite class, and if I'm not mistaken, they've also won it overall before. Then we had the likes of Core Blimey Racing, the number 113, and actually a surprise for us this weekend was the number 313. And then we had the local teams, some of our friends as well, TEESSIDE Tigers. We had Bargain Racing, Race for Ruben. All these teams they've always done well here before. They've done well in the past couple races as well. Yeah, so we knew our competition was quite stiff. Obviously, looking at TEESSIDE Tigers, for example, they had Lewis Jolly, who's leading the championship, the NRG championship. They had Lewis Blench, if you're not subscribed, you better get subscribed. I know you always watch my videos, so remember to subscribe. They had John O'Allen and they had George Boothby for that one. So we know that's quite a strong team. Race for Ruben, they've won it. I think the past 2 times in Elite they've won it, so they're very strong. Obviously our newer team as well, the TEESSIDEs. I don't know how many T's is in there, but yeah, they were doing really well as well. And then obviously we can't forget to mention the teams who finished 1 and 2 last year. We had Apex Twin Racing and Lockwell Hill Racing, or Lockwell Hill Karting. They both finished 1-2 last year, despite both being in the pro class and not the elite class. I think they've both been bumped up this year to elite, which isn't really a surprise. I think Lockwell Hill in general, in most stints that I was looking at, Lockwell Hill were one of the quickest on track. In practice as well, I think they were clear of everyone in practice, but unfortunately for them, I think they had one too many mechanicals. As you're about to see in this video, mechanicals play a big part. You can't go through one of these races without having a mechanical failure. You can have many things go wrong. Some of them could be down to the fact of how you're driving, and some could be down to the fact that the kart itself will just break apart. So yeah, I was just diving up the inside of that driver there, nice and easy. One of my favourite moves was the dive up the inside of hairpin 1. I felt quite strong going into hairpin 1 on the brakes. Just the kart in general, as we see Rossi go past, blows me a kiss. Just the kart in general, it felt, you'll see later on in the video, on power the kart wasn't the greatest, but through the corners and on the brakes the kart just felt perfect. It would do everything you'd want it to do. As we kind of get hit by that driver. I thought he was letting me through, that's why I put my hand up at him. But yeah, anyway, in this video, if you see me get upset at anyone, obviously it's only because we're fighting for the lead, and the adrenaline's rushing through my head. You tend to get upset at people, even though you don't really mean it. So yeah, if you see me get upset at anyone, it's just in the heat of the moment. As you'll see behind this driver here in slipstream, you can see there he's pulling away in slipstream, despite the fact that slipstream is really powerful here. But once we hit the top end and slipstream comes into full effect, we catch right back up and we just dive it up the inside, nice and easy there. And you can see the next car ahead of us is Race for Ruben. As I mentioned, they've won the race the past 2 times in the elite class. They know what they're doing, but I was quicker than him at this point, so just get a nice and easy move up the inside. He's not really fighting it, he knows he can work with me. We get our heads down and we go. At this point I was closing the gap up to KBR. As I mentioned, when I came out the pits the gap was about 30 seconds, and I think at this point it was down to about 20 seconds, so I was closing it up quite quickly. And then Core Blimey 313, who were in second, they were closing it up to KBR as well. So I was just hoping that maybe they would fight and help me catch up. But if they're smart, they'll just let the other one go and just push him along. As you see, just dive it up the inside there of the mountain section, nice and easy. This was that was one of my favourite moves as well. You can catch people out there. You just send it up the inside of the mountain section. Now we just tucked in the slipstream here, waiting for a space to open up at the inside of hairpin 1, which we do. Get the move done nice and easy. Stop it from hitting into that TRX driver there. Get a nice exit here and get past him. Now, a couple of laps later, we've caught up to our good friend, former teammate as well, Tom Fox. We actually competed in Le Mans last year together. We were doing quite well. I think we had a few issues, a few trips to Gravel Bay that weren't supposed to happen. I think he was doing his first British 24. They were doing quite well as well. To be fair to them, they actually managed to win in class, which is quite good of them. However, when I get past him, I actually proceed to drive like a billy for the next lap and smash every curb and every corner. So sorry about that, Tom. A couple laps later, caught up to this driver here. We're under yellows, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been full course or not. Anyway, I'll let you go on through the next few laps. It's a bit of a highlight reel, and I'll catch up with you in a bit.
What's the gap to clear the off? What's the gap to clear the off? Seconds. Who's this on comms? Who's this? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? How long is left? How long? How long? How long is left? How long is left? How long is left? How long is left? I'm just asking how long is left. How long is left? How long is left? Yeah, I can do it today. I've went past the bits, I've went past the bits. You're turning too wide.
Now, towards the end of my stint, as I was getting called to come in, well, To be fair, the team was waiting for the pit lane to be free, so you can't really come in behind someone. I was catching up to the back of the Core Blimey 113 team. They had Henry Trini in the kart just ahead of me. I don't know if he's a fan of Brad Philpott here, but he misses the apex, smashes the curb. We get a nice run on him here, going into Rib Bend, and we get the move done there. I don't think our kart was much quicker than theirs, as you'll see later on in this video, but I was speaking to his teammates, and I think their kart was weighing 5 kg heavier than the other karts, and Henry was overweight anyway, so I think he was running about 12 kg over in total with that. But yeah, as we were looking for a gap to come in here, we overtake that guy there, but instantly for some reason sends it up the inside of me, which didn't make any sense. I was getting a bit annoyed at him because it's towards the end. But yeah, the team was looking for a gap to bring me in. I think in this lap they told me to come in, so I'll leave you with the effect of me coming in the pit lane, the unedited effect of me coming in the pit lane, and you'll see how it goes.
Yeah, copy, boxing this lap, copy. I flicked him on.
You'll get that engine.
Yeah.
Know what we're doing, yeah?
Yeah.
On that left side, that's Ready?
What's the time? Got him! Go!
Now a couple stints later, I'm going back out again. I think this was about 2 stints later. As you saw, after me, Danny got in the kart, and then after him, I think I'll go back in the kart after him. I can't remember. So basically, we were supposed to do double stints, all of us, but Danny and Alfie both had to change the weight on the seat. They were both using the same seat, and Danny had to take some weight off, so we couldn't run them back to back. So we were running me after I think Danny ran me again. So in this stint, I felt quite strong in this stint. It was cooling down a bit. Well, to be fair, right now the sun's out, but at one point in the stint, it cools down and we start flying, and you'll see how we get on there.
who's the one.
Now about halfway through the stint, we've caught up to this guy here. Once again, going to go for a nice move up the top of the mountain. One of my favourite moves there. Nice and easy. He gets a bit of a switch back here, but I just tell him to tuck in my slipstream and let's work together. And now on the next lap, we've caught up to the guy in front of him. And now, unfortunately, this is where everything starts to go wrong. As I go for a move up the inside, nice and clean move there, no contact made. We're going down the straight, and I'll just leave you with my unedited reaction. This is where everything went wrong.
Guys, my engine broke, my engine broke. Left engine. Guys, my left engine broke. The exhaust off with the exhaust is off. Put it in the business lap, put it in the business lap. Exhausted. What? Yeah, yeah. Exhaust gone, look. It's not there. Start the engine, I haven't flicked them. But so far to get a video.
Was it on the straight it came off?
Yeah, on the straight, it just came off, I could hear it revving.
Okay, you can put it back. You're lapping it over second half faster than them, so...
It's good, it's good.
Right, you ready? Come on. Alright, watch out, lad.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good. Go on, this. Good. It's not on.
As you saw there, unfortunately for us, our left exhaust fell off down the straight, which was the first of many to happen. At this point, that was the first one. However, because of how well we've been doing so far, we only dropped back to about P5 overall. We were first overall before we pitted. I think we were nearly a lap ahead, and we come out just ahead of the Core Blimey 113 team. They had Will Fuchs in the car. I know he's a quick driver, so I was hoping we could just work together, be like slipstream buddies and catch up to everyone else. Obviously my tyres are still cold at this point, so I wasn't driving the best. And we didn't lose too much time. An exhaust isn't the worst mechanical, as Will pushing me down the straight here. An exhaust isn't the worst mechanical. I think we only lost about 2 laps over a normal pit stop, so yeah, it isn't too bad. As that driver goes up the inside, Will follows him through, by just sticking it back up the inside. I felt like I was quite quick. I felt if he would push me along, we'd do a lot better. See, now he's pushing me down the straight. Obviously, if I was behind him, I wouldn't be able to do that, as you're probably going to see in a bit. I didn't have the ability to do that when I was behind them. A few laps later, we've got up to this gaggle of karts here, looking for a move the inside. I don't get it done, but he goes for a move himself. I push him through, help him through. You can see there, we're just dropping off the back of these drivers here. People said our kart was insane, but you're probably going to see that our kart was not that good compared to other people's karts. We're just diving up the inside with 2 drivers there. Nice and easy. Through hairpin 2, take a bit of a tighter line, is still good there. Now them drivers, I did catch up to them by over a second a lap, but for some reason this driver sends it back up the inside of me, which is very weird because we genuinely caught him by nearly about 2 seconds a lap. I dive it back up the inside because we were basically fighting for the lead, and then he just sends it back up the inside for some reason, which didn't make sense. And he's telling me to use my head, but I'm telling him to use my head. I'm just telling him I'm first, like, use your head. It was quite annoying. Like I was saying, if I say anything in this video on comms or just under the helmet, it is because of the adrenaline, and also, to be honest, that was his fault. He shouldn't have fought me. I was miles quicker than him. Now you can see we are catching up to Jono in the Teesside Tiger kart. Yeah, as I say there, I'm not trying to be too rude, but it is quite frustrating. When we were fighting for the lead, people would just push me off and stuff. Here I try to go around the outside of that driver there, no grip around the outside, just go back up the inside. We still have Will right behind me, pushing me along. And now this is a bit of a stupid one on me here. Going into hairpin 1, it was yellow. I didn't see the yellow, and I thought John will braked a bit too hard, but I just didn't see the yellow, so it caught me out, and I dropped back a couple positions compared to Will. Now the next few laps, I get stuck behind traffic trying to catch back up to Will. It gets a bit annoying because traffic keeps getting in the way, but we try and get back up to him, catch up to him, because at this point he was one of the quickest karts on track. And then we also had the Lockwell Hill kart and the Teesside Academy kart. Pretty sure us four were the four fastest on track at this point. So yeah, if me and him could work together, we could be the fastest on track.
see far less traffic in the mountain section. We're getting thumbs down tonight, guys.
Now, after a few laps, we've caught back up to the back of Will, and on the top of the mountain section here, you can see there Lockwell Hill Karting. We've also caught up to the back of them. We got stuck behind someone going up the mountain. As you can see here, in double slipstream, they're pulling away from me. As I mentioned, our kart was not the greatest down the straight. It just handled perfectly. So yeah, these two were two of the quickest on track. Obviously, yeah, I still wanted to get past them because I felt I was quicker. Straight away just send it up the inside of Will. Give him a hands up just because I'm sorry for going for the move because we lost a bit of time. But I was hoping he'd push me back up to the back of Lockwell Hill. We had Sam in the Lockwell Hill car. I'm pretty sure I recognise him because he races BPEC as well, if I'm not mistaken. Although there are a lot of people that wear MS suits, but if I'm not mistaken, it is Sam who we race in BPEC. I know he's a pretty quick driver. If I'm not mistaken, he did. I'm not sure. Not this year because Brad took pole this year, but last year he took pole overall in hires. So yeah, is that the 888 that gets past us? Goes for a move, pushes Sam wide, so we kind of get up the inside of Sam. Put my hand up there to say, you know, let me go through, and hopefully he'll push me along. I'm going up the hill, taking our nice inside line there, and now going down the back straight here. I think Sam and Will were both happy to work together as a train, not fight against it amongst ourselves. You see there, just pushing me down the straight, and yeah, hopefully we can catch up to the next karts. And now for the rest of the video, it's basically unedited raw footage of my stint, the rest of my stint that is, till we pit. I'll just come in towards the end to let you know about how we got on at the end of the race, let you know what position we finished, how everyone else got on, and what the situation was like after our stint. So you can just forward it towards the end if you want to see that.
quick one. Is an idiot. Both of them. fastest tyre lap over, right? Drive the fastest lap over, what time was it? Did you say it's a 20.5? What time is that lap? Those yellows. Position, are we? No, don't do it. Push. It's yeah, push me. I got a point line on the Alfano. It was yellow here, so it would have been quicker. I'm in traffic now with the yellows. Yellows over. come out here, like fully. What the fuck is it doing? It just lost me a second and a half that long. How long is left? What is it? What position are we? Oh, it's a big crash. Big crash. What position are we? What position are we? Keep going up. Just keep it in what position? What the fuck is going on? I happened one. When you speak clear, when you speak like that, I can't tell what you're saying. Come on. Did you say 4 seconds or what? can't tell what you're saying. the minutes to get past the top. box this one, box this one. Is that what you said? Box this one, is that what you said? Hello? Can you hear me? Are we boxing now? You want to know? I thought I had 15 minutes left. The 15 just went flying into me. The 15 just went flying into me. I just about survived, but genuinely, I was moving over the corner, and he just went flying into me. One word at a time, I think it's done.
Here we are towards the last couple laps of my stint. We did manage to get back up to the lead in my stint despite the exhaust failure earlier. That did mean we were offset on strategy to the rest of the leaders because I got fuel when we done the exhaust change, so we were offset in strategy, but we were back in the lead, which was the important part. We were still fighting for the win with, I think at this point KBR had a problem. They went in the gravel, so they dropped back a bit, but at this point we were still fighting for the win with quite a lot of people. But going into the night, we've done a solid night shift. We got back up to, we were fighting first overall, second or first depending on the stint, and going into the last two stints we were fighting with Race for Ruben for the overall win. However, we only had about 2 pit stops left when they had about 3 left, so they were offset on strategy to us. We were doing a bit of lifting and coasting to make it to the end, so if all turned out like it was supposed to, we were going to come across the line about 20 seconds ahead of them. However, unfortunately for them, after the full course yellow towards the end, they had a bit of an issue. I think he crashed with someone. I saw an accident. I don't know if his cart broke. They had to come in for a cart change, and that dropped them out of contention. After that, Teesside Tigers were our nearest rivals. They were in P2 overall. They were P1 in the elite class. We were P1 overall. I was doing the last couple stints. However, the last stint started to rain. We had quite a bit of a buffer, so I decided to, well, to be fair, I felt I wasn't quick enough. I just wasn't trying to bin the cart. I was trying my best not to bin it, so I told them to get Harry in the cart. Harry brought it home across the line, and we took the win overall. We took the win ahead of the Teesside Tigers by 1 lap. Teesside Tigers won the elite class, and then in P3 was Bargain Racing. They won the pro class. So the top 3 were basically, we were all one team off track. Off track we were basically functioning as one team, and we managed to 1, 2, 3 the whole event. Second in our class was Speed in Schoolberg. They were 4th overall. Race Ruben, after their issues, managed to finish 5th overall, which was 2nd in the elite class. And then the Teessiders, fair play to them. After, I think they had a 1 lap penalty and the issues they had, they managed to come home 3rd in the clubman class. So in the clubman class we also got a 1-3, so that was pretty good. And then KBR finished 3rd in the elite class. So overall that was a solid result from everyone. Everyone did very well. Everyone in the team knew their roles. We played it to perfection. Steve managed the off-track perfectly. Harry just mechanically sorted out the kart, and he done his stint perfectly. Anthony basically done almost every pit stop, and he did it perfectly. He also done the double of the night shifts. Alfie and Danny, perfect stints, man. Couldn't have asked for any better. They were fastest on track all the time, and I did all I had to do. So it was a perfect race from the team, to be fair. Honestly, looking forward to next year now. I feel like we've improved a lot. And yeah, thanks to all the mechanics and everyone who helped us throughout the event. We had about 6 exhaust failures, and they got them done very quickly. Speedy changes. I think at one of them we done a pit stop and an exhaust changed in 2 minutes 30 or something. So it was yeah, it was solid from them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you like this content. I know it's a little bit different. Also, it's a very long video as well, because most of it's just the last stint by itself. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And Lewis Blench, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Walk with him, walk with him, walk with him. Okay. Is he on comms? Is he on comms?
Well done, Hassan.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Fast up, man.
Okay. Thank you.
Getting that time back.
Boss.